Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 31 of Not the Worsted Knitting Podcast. My name is Michelle, and I am the knitter and knitwear designer behind meeshyfrazz Knits. In today's episode, I think this is kind of an impromptu holiday episode. This is my last episode before Christmas, so I just felt like it was right to get decked out in all of my holiday wear. So yeah, this will be coming out just a few days before Christmas, I believe. So I felt like it was the right day to put on my Trim the Tree cowl. I also, with it, so my Trim the Tree cowl that I am wearing is, this is knit out of Hazel Knits Lively DK, and there is a kit for this, and I'm actually not sure if there are still kits available, but there might be, so definitely take a look if you're interested. And what I'm wearing with it is my Weekender Light, and that is a pattern by Andrea Mowry. I knit this up a couple of years ago, and it just worked out really well that it goes with my cowl. The green that's used in kind of like the string portion of the lights, like the wire, I felt like it's a really good match, and it just kind of, the colors really go well, so this lucked out. And this, my Weekender Light, is knit with Juniper Moon Farm Patagonia, I believe. If you want to know more information about my Weekender Light, definitely check out my video, my most and least worn fall knits video. I talk a lot about that in here. And then if you want to deep dive into this cowl, both my cowl and the matching socks, I do also have a holiday knits video, which you can take a look at for that. Outside of that, I am actually also wearing my my Siroc Socks, the Advent socks from last year that are finally finished. This is probably going to be really weird, but I guess I'll show them. So I am wearing those too. So I am decked out in all of my holiday gear that's like very vibrant and festive, and I am just loving it right now. I've got my holiday lights going, the cats are playing, there are, we even have holiday specific cat toys, which they love. This little Nutcracker, which is so fun. I don't know where they went, but they will probably be running around in the background as per usual. So why don't we go ahead and get started? What do we have today? So we do have one finished object, which I'm going to save for closer to the end. And then just a couple of works in progress, just updates on what I've been working on. And then I do also have a really fun acquisition. So why don't we go ahead and jump right in? All right, so we'll start with my first work in progress, which is my Advent but not Advent socks. If you have been watching, then you already know what I mean, but just in case you are new here, so when I'm talking about Advent socks, I'm talking about like a self-striping sock yarn. Typically, like an Advent self-striping sock yarn, there are 25 colors and you knit a stripe a day. I missed the boat this year on getting a self-striping Advent yarn, but I figured I could still do Advent socks and it didn't have to be technically an Advent yarn. So what I got this beautiful yarn from the Nutcracker collection, and this is from Tiny Human Knits. And it's just a self-striping sock yarn that it's got like seven different colors. And this is where I'm at with them. So I finally did the heel. If you'll remember last time, I was actually a day behind because I just didn't feel like getting to the heel. I finally took care of that, so I got both heels in. I did a shadow wrap heel, which is kind of my preferred sock heel at this point. I just love that you get it done and over with right away. It's just nice. Like the afterthought heel is also not bad, and that's also one I don't mind, but you always kind of know you have to get back to it, and then the construction, you know, it's basically the same as a wedge toe, so it's fine. But it does leave a little bit of like a chunky edge, like you get that large seam or line down the sides. I really like how minimal the shadow wrap heel looks, and it's very customizable. You do this with a series of double and triple stitches, And you can customize it to the amount you need to either make it longer or shorter if you need more length for your heel or not. So you can play with the depth, and then you just kind of do it right away. So you get to the point where you need to add the heel, and you just add it right in, and then you go right back to it. You're not like putting anything on hold. You're not waiting for anything. This is a great heel to use if you are working on color work socks, because you don't have to worry about floats and picking up the right stitch and any sort of like gapping or holes. So I just really love this heel, and I think it looks really nice. Like, it looks like a proper traditional heel. So yeah, we are, we're making our way down the foot. We're maybe, I don't know, what do we think? Maybe about halfway through the foot, something like that. But we're on track. I think I might technically be done a couple of days before Christmas. So I might space out the toes and do like one toe on one day and then the other toe on the next day, just so it is closer to finishing on Christmas Day. But yeah, that's the update on this. If I didn't say, which I may not have, I am using my Siroc sock pattern just because I like to jazz it up just a little bit beyond doing a vanilla sock, and I think this works really nicely on self-striping yarn. And then you can see once you get to the foot, you don't do that cabling on the bottom, you only do it on the top of the foot. So once you get to the foot, it moves even faster. And so it's nice. I'll pick these up and I'll knock these out in like a half hour. And it's just a nice little exercise to do each night, just to kind of like unwind from the day. So I'm really enjoying these, and these are housed in my super fun Christmas bag. So that is the update on my Siroc socks. Next up on the list is my Lyon Sweater. And this is coming along really, really nicely. So this pattern, this is the Lyon Sweater by Petite Knit. This pattern calls for a little over 7 inches of positive ease. So I am doing the smallest size, which should give me just about that, like 6 to 7 inches of positive ease, I believe. I actually just tried this on last night and it fits great. So I am really excited about this. Gonna hold it close so you can see the beautiful fabric, because I keep talking about how much I love the fabric this is making. So this sweater pattern is a worsted weight pattern. You're supposed to hold, I believe in her pattern, she holds 2 fingering weights together. I am holding a DK weight with a lace weight. So the DK weight I am holding is Newburgh Yarn Co. Hudson DK in the color Coleman Red. And then I am holding with it Fyberspates Cumulus in Ruby Red. And together, these 2 colors make this super gorgeous fabric, which I am just really, really in love with. So this pattern is really, really fun. I'm really enjoying it. You cast on the back, and then you do a series of rapid increases to build out the shoulder. Then you pick up stitches to knit up the shoulders, and you pick up stitches to add the sleeves. And then from there, you do a series of raglan increases, and then you just, once you separate the sleeves, you just knit in the round. And so I am at the point now where I am just knitting, 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 and I'm not sure if I'm going to meet the Christmas deadline. I don't think I am, like, let's be honest. I've been knitting on so many different things that I just don't think it's gonna happen. Pardon me while I fix my bangs. So I was supposed to have a haircut yesterday, but I've still been getting over this head cold, so I pushed it off for the weekend. And my bangs are a little bit unruly right now, so I keep just trying to get them out of my face, so I apologize for that. But yeah, this is coming along. I said this last video, I suspect that this will end up being more of a New Year's sweater than a Christmas sweater, and that's okay. I still think I'm gonna wear this all winter long. It's going to be such a nice, thick, warm sweater. So I just need to knit to my desired length and do just your standard ribbing hem, I don't think there's anything crazy with the sleeves either. And then you will pick up stitches to do a folded over neckband. So I'm really excited about this one, and I'm really enjoying the pattern. It's very, very simple to knit up. And I'm really liking the shoulder construction. This European shoulder construction is becoming much more popular. You're seeing it in a lot more designs. I don't know what is going on, but they are running around the house like mad cats. I actually had to stop the video earlier if there were a few cuts in here because I heard all this banging and clanging in the kitchen, and it turned out that Tuna had opened the cabinet door to like our casserole dishes, and they were trying to find a way inside there. Fortunately, we've got them stacked up so high they couldn't really get in, but you know, don't really want them putting their nasty little pads all over our casserole dishes if we can help it. So that's what's going on in the background, always. But anyway, yeah, so I'm really enjoying the European shoulder construction, and I'm seeing it a lot more in a lot of patterns. It's making me think about incorporating it in some designs of my own. There are a couple sweater patterns that I've got coming up where I've got the motif in mind and the idea of what it's going to be, and I'm actually trying to figure out what construction I want to do. And I've been debating between a couple. Like, I was thinking a drop shoulder might be nice, but I'm actually thinking now that I might go with more of the European shoulder, just because it almost gives the same kind of feeling as a set-in sleeve, which seems to have a bit of a nicer fit. Drop shoulders are great as long as they're really oversized, like my Robinia here. But I'm very hit or miss with drop shoulders. I mean, to be fair, this is technically a drop shoulder that I'm wearing too, and it's not the loosest. I mean, there is a decent amount of positive ease here, and then you've got narrower sleeves, which is kind of something Andrea Mowry really does. Like, she often will have looser fit sweaters with not smaller, but like closer fitting sleeves. And I do think this is a nice look, but you have to be really careful in how you achieve that. So I'm just, I'm debating between those constructions right now. And while I'm working on this, it's just made me think that maybe I want to explore this, like the European shoulder for this upcoming design that I'm working on. So we'll see. We'll see what I end up doing with it. I'm not sure. That's one thing that I really like about knitting other people's designs is that, you know, you're trying out all of these different techniques and constructions, and it just kind of forces you to look at things slightly differently and see different approaches of how you can do it. Because, you know, I mean, I've knit a million top-down raglans, top-down round yokes, drop shoulders, and that sort of fit. I've done a couple of set-in sleeves, but this European shoulder technique with the like pseudo set-in sleeve, it's a fit I'm really enjoying. So yeah, that was a random ramble, but that's where my head's at right now. So anyway, long story short, the Lyon sweater is coming along nicely. I'm really enjoying working on it. And it's nice to just pick up in the evenings while we're watching something on TV, and I can just kind of mindlessly knit and not really have to pay too close attention to what I'm doing. So that is that done, and that does it for my whips, or every whip that I can talk about. There is another whip that I'm working on right now. I am working on a sock design, but this also has to remain a secret until the summer. But it's super cute and it's making me really happy, and I'm really having a lot of fun with it. So I can't wait to show that off. But that is something I am working on a little bit here and there too. So I'll share more about that in the summer, I guess. Yeah. Okay. So, now I'm going to talk about Christmas presents, and this is the last time. So Thomas, if you are watching this video, please turn it off now. This is the last one. You won't have to worry about it after this. But yeah, if you are watching, thank you for watching. And Thomas, you gotta go. Bye-bye. All right. So I said I had a finished object, and I do. And it is, make sure I'm showing the right side. I want them to look their best. Ugh, they're still a little wet, so they look a little rough right now, but we have our finished pizza socks. How cute are these? They're so cute. I'm so excited. So I just finished the second one yesterday, and so we are officially on holiday vacation, and so Thomas is home, so it's been a bit of a struggle for me to work on these, but I will say I've been sick with a cold all week, so I've just kind of been hanging out and taking it easy and laying in bed and just watching like Bake Off and whatever random Vlogmas has been keeping me lots of company. And so I've been able to work on this. I've had this, it's been tricky though. So I've had this bag on my bed with this so I could work on it. But then I also would have another project nearby just in case I could hear him coming up the stairs. And then as I was knitting on this, what I would have to do is like, I had it rolled up like this, so as I was knitting the foot, just in case you wouldn't be able to see anything underneath. So I had to knit these kind of stealthily. And then yesterday, as I was finishing them up, I had just gotten to the toe. I was literally just doing the last of the Kitchener stitch and sewing in the last stitch, and all of a sudden he comes upstairs and I'm like throwing it in my bag. So it's been a process. And I'm also, I don't know if you noticed that my voice has gone down a little bit because he is technically in the house. He's got his door closed and I'm really hoping he can't hear me. But you know, this is what happens when you have to make a surprise knit for somebody you live with. It's tricky. But anyway, they are done. So if you are just tuning in, this is a self-drafted pattern that I came up with. I don't think it's a pattern I'm going to release just because the pizza motif honestly was a pain to knit because it's all 3-stranded. I might release the chart for free if anybody wants to knit this. But what I did was I cast on 72 stitches, which is his normal sock amount. And then I increased up to 80 stitches because I'm doing color work and that's what I have to do for his size. And then I knit, so these are breadsticks and this is pizza. So I knit up the motif. And then once I did the leg, I put in an afterthought heel. And then I did 3x1 rib on the top of the foot. And then I just did this super adorable little checkerboard that's supposed to be kind of reminiscent of like a pizza box right before the toe, just because I wanted something a little fun. And so I think he's gonna get a kick out of these. I'm so happy that they're done. It's such a relief. It's such a relief that these are done. And so these are using my Hazel Knits Artisan sock scraps, which is really great. Hey, Tuna. I've got Tuna just off screen. I don't know if, yeah, I think he's gonna pop over and say hi. Hi, buddy. All right, he's very excited about the pizza socks too. So, so yeah, these used my Hazel Knits Artisan sock scraps from my Flocking Good Time socks, as well as my Trim the Tree socks. And I say this every time, but I really love Hazel Knits Artisan sock base. It's a very hardy base. I want to say it's 90-10, so 90% merino, superwash merino wool and 10% nylon. I'm pretty sure that's the fiber construction for these. But yeah, so these knit up really beautifully. I think he's really gonna like them. I think, this blue is one of his favorite colors, and then obviously he loves pizza and breadsticks, so it should just be really cute and really fun. So I'm actually going to wrap these after this and put them under our tree. And yeah, I'm really, really happy that these are done. They do need to dry just a little bit more. It's funny, his socks don't quite fit on the sock blocker I have for him. Like, his socks are always a little bit bigger than the blocker. So I do the best I can in blocking them. I mean, it helps a little bit, but I do wish I could kind of stretch this maybe a little bit more. So we'll see. But either way, these are done and I am thrilled. I finished these with time to spare. I was actually worried for a bit that I was still going to be working on these on like Christmas Eve and was going to have to give him like 1.5 socks or like unblocked socks. So the fact that these are done is really great, and I am so relieved. Honestly, like the moment I finished them, I texted my friend like a couple minutes later and I was like, oh my God, I finished. I actually finished. Like finally at that moment, I took a breath and was like, okay, now we can breathe. So I'm really hoping he's gonna like these. I think he is. I think he's gonna get a kick out of them. He does obviously know that I am knitting him something for Christmas, and I think there is a chance that he might have accidentally seen the chart. One of my videos where I had the chart when I was showing it off, I left the chart under a magazine over here, and I didn't even realize I did it, and he was grabbing magazines and like kind of saw that really quick, and there might have been enough panic on my face to where he kind of knows what's going on, but it was just a chart, so I don't think he really has any idea what it's gonna look like. But you know, again, this is what happens when you try to surprise somebody that you live with and see every day. It's a struggle. Okay, anyway, so that is progress on those. It's always nice when I have a finished object that I can share, especially when it's a gift knit or just a knit that is not for me, where, you know, there's a little bit more of a deadline. So that is really, really exciting. Outside of that, let's see, what sort of updates do I have? Yeah, actually, my secret summer tea test knit is underway. I just want to say a huge thank you to everybody who applied. If you applied, thank you so much. And also, honestly, I was a little bit overwhelmed. The response I got to this was massive, like the biggest response I've gotten yet to a test call, and I was so surprised by that because this was a secret test knit. I always worry when I put out a call for a secret knit that there aren't going to be many people that apply, just because you don't know what you're getting yourself into. And so for the response that I got, I was honestly shocked and so thankful. So just please know, if you applied and you didn't get into this, it is literally nothing personal. It was honestly just that I had to make cutoffs regardless for each size. And especially there were certain sizes, like sizes 2 to 4 got an overwhelming number of applicants, and I can't let everybody in, even though I want to. And I'm very cognizant of trying to get a mix of different levels of knitters in my test knit. So I want a mix of beginners and people who've been knitting for decades. And I want people who have never test knit before, as well as seasoned pros. And just looking at all different things. You know, it's not about having the biggest like Instagram profile or the most beautiful photos. Like, I just want a really well-rounded group of people to work on my patterns, so I can, you know, get a really good feel of how people like the pattern and how people like the final design. That also means that I like to have different age ranges, all different age ranges. So don't ever be worried about if you're too young, too old, too, you know, not experienced enough, to whatever. Like, just if you are interested, apply. I'm always trying to make sure that I get people in. So if you didn't get into this test knit, definitely apply to future test knits. Like, I try to have a good rotation of constantly bringing in new people that haven't tested for me before. And then there are some testers that I've worked with that we just have a really great relationship, and so if they apply, I'm definitely going to let them in. So there is definitely a fine balance there. But yeah, again, just really, really cool to see so many people respond to that. So that test knit is well underway. Technically, the test knit doesn't start until January 1st. I put that date in there just so people didn't feel pressure to have to work on this during the holidays, because, you know, we all have a lot going on right now, and that's just to be expected. But the test knit is open. They have gotten the pattern, and basically people are starting to buy their yarn. I've set them up with an Instagram chat, so everybody's chatting in there, and it seems like a really great group. And so I'm really excited to see this as it kind of, as everybody starts to kind of get started on their projects. And to that, I actually have a question. So I posed this question to my testers yesterday, but I'm really curious and I'd love to get some feedback. So my test knits have always been, I've always done it to where I will have an Instagram chat group, and then sometimes I will offer a Ravelry forum as well. And you can kind of choose between the two. And then if you don't want either, you can just email me with updates. I didn't do a Ravelry forum this time around just because this has to remain really secret, and I didn't want people posting photos on Ravelry because I just don't want to risk those photos getting out and people seeing them, just because I'm not allowed to share any information really at this stage. So we've just got the Instagram group, and a lot, actually like a large portion of the testers are in that, and it's very active and it's doing great. But I've been thinking more about doing maybe like a Discord server or a Slack option. I actually set up a Discord server last night to kind of get things started and see how it would work, and it seems pretty easy to set up. Like I created the different communities or whatever it's called, I don't know. But anyway, so I set up a Discord server, but I haven't actually sent out invites or anything like that. So what I'm curious of is actually like, what is your preferred method for when you're test knitting? For my test knits, I really like to have a sense of community. I want it to kind of feel like a knit along. I don't want it to feel like everybody's kind of isolated and you like just email me and then wait in the darkness, you know, like if you would rather do it on your own and not be involved in all of that, totally get that. And that is fine. And that is an option that I leave open. But for those who want to share like what yarns they're thinking about using, share their swatches, ask questions about the gauge they're getting or whatever, anything related to the test, I want to have that available. And so I'm just trying to figure out, because I know not everybody's on Instagram, and I know that, you know, I think a lot of people are starting to move away from Instagram just because Instagram is doing some really weird stuff and making it even harder. Like I know they're like getting rid of the hashtags or something, which feels really difficult for our community because we share so much with hashtags, like talking about patterns, talking about yarn, talking about knit-alongs. And so I've just been thinking a lot about what that means for our community and how we can still kind of be a community and chat about things in a way that's really accessible to the most people. And so this is becoming a very long-winded question. I guess my question to you is, what are your thoughts on Discord? Would you, when you're applying to a test, do you want to have multiple options or do you just want one option? Like at first I thought about opening up Discord, but I've also set up the Instagram chat already, and I feel like having two is almost too much because people might feel like they need to be on both, or some people might feel like they're missing out from the other, and so I feel like I need to just do one. But you know, while a lot of my testers have said they would use Discord, there were a couple who said that they probably wouldn't and felt like it was yet another app to use. So I'm just really curious, what are your thoughts on using Discord or Slack compared to Instagram? Do you care? Does it bother you? Do you like the ability of having that desktop feature where you can just kind of chat all day? Or do you feel like you already have that with Instagram and it's not a big deal? I would love to know your thoughts, only because the one thing I really like about Discord is that, you know, I can invite people, I can invite them to become members, and we can have exclusive chat rooms for the test, but then there can also be general chat rooms for if you just want to chat with people that you've met and share about knitting, but maybe not about this pattern specifically or what have you. So I don't know, I like the idea of that, you know, a place where everybody can kind of be, but then at the same time, like, that might already exist, and I don't know if I need to create that. I'm not like, you know, it's really, I'm just looking at this for my testers. So like, I don't know, I'm trying to figure out if it's worth it and if it makes sense, and if it was something that you would use and like to use as a tester versus just using Instagram and being happy with that and being able to just delete that chat when you're done and call it a day. So definitely let me know. I would love it if you would share your opinions on what you think about that, just because I'm always trying to make it the most user-friendly for the most amount of people. And there are features on each of them that are really nice, and there are features on each of them that are a little bit tricky. And I know that Discord is one of those where I don't know if it's been massively adopted by the knitting community, but I do think it's worth exploring a little bit more. So anyway, yeah, you get the drill. So let me know your thoughts on that, and I will continue to decide what I want to do with that. Okay, that covers all of my knitting chat. I do have one knitting adjacent thing to talk about, and that is my acquisition for today. So these just came in the mail yesterday, and I got fully inspired. I totally took this idea from one of my testers, Yeji, who is Andmade Co. on Instagram and YouTube. She has a YouTube channel, so definitely check her out. She has tested a few patterns for me now, and she tested my Trim the Tree socks, and then she posted the most adorable reel with these rain boots. These are clear rain boots, and I saw them, and it was very much like a yay or nay, kind of like, what do you think? Would you wear these? And I saw them and was sold, like immediately sold. And so I Googled them. These are UGG boots, and they are called the Drizzlita. They are the Drizzlita rain boots. And so they have them in multiple colors, but specifically I wanted the clear because I was just thinking, look, I make a lot of handmade socks, and I make a lot of really fun color work socks, and I wear them out. And how fun would it be to be able to show them off? I mean, I don't know that I would wear these everywhere, but if I'm going to a knit night, or if I'm going to my yarn store, or if I'm just going around town somewhere fun and I want to be jazzed up and let people see my socks, I love this. So I immediately Googled them, and all I could find was not an Instagram, all I could find was an Amazon link, but they only had it in like one size, which was not my size. Turns out there is one place. I reached out to Yeji, and she told me where she got them, and where is it? I wrote it down. Snipes. So I have never heard of this shoe store before. I don't know. I never heard of them. But anyway, they had them on Snipes. So I ordered this pair not that long ago, actually. I ordered them a couple of weeks ago, and they just arrived. And so I am so excited. Maybe, I don't know, we'll see. Maybe I'll put in some B-roll of me walking around in these with the socks I've got on. We'll see. If there is no B-roll here, then that means I failed utterly and it looked stupid and I didn't want to post it. But yeah, so I am super jazzed about these. Also, like, they've got like this really fuzzy interior, which looks so cozy. So I can't wait to wear them. The sock design that I am working on that is coming out this summer, I actually think is going to be so cute with these boots. It was kind of what put me over the edge on deciding to buy them. This is going to be so ridiculous, but mostly because I could see the photo in my mind of how cute it would be for the cover of the pattern, and I was like, I need these. I mean, also to wear them, obviously, but that sock design in particular, I think is going to be adorable with this. So, yeah, I am going to be wearing these. It has been pouring here. It's actually not raining right now, but it has been pouring. We had a crazy storm last night. We woke up at like 4 or 5 in the morning, and because hail was like hitting our window. Where we live, we actually get a lot of hail in the winter, like just little bouts of hail, and it's like little hail. And we get like these mini little storms a lot. It's not a big deal, but it is a little scary when it wakes you up at like 5 a.m. So these came just in time, and I will probably be wearing them around town this week, especially when we do some final Christmas shopping and go to the grocery store to get all the things we need for the holidays. So there's a really, really fun acquisition that I am so excited about. Okay. That actually does conclude everything knitting related. The last thing I have to chat about is just book chat. So last week I was reading None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell, and I finished that. So I finished that a couple days ago, and overall it was good. The ending left me with some questions. Like, I think I get what the author was trying to do, and I think, okay, so the book is basically about this woman who is a podcaster. She meets this other woman. Turns out they both share a birthday, but not just that, they were born in the same year at the same hospital. And so they're basically birthday twins. And the woman she meets, she's a little sketchy and she can't quite figure out if she's trustworthy or not, or what her deal is. And as you learn more about this other woman, it turns out that, you know, she's in kind of a seedy marriage, and she seems like she's kind of the victim of a lot of really problematic things. And so you feel for her, but then you also still don't fully trust her, and you're trying to figure out what her angle is. And she definitely is problematic in her own right. And so the whole book is you kind of, through the podcast interviews, you start to kind of tear away at her story and where it all began and what the truth is. And I think the title is telling in that none of it is true. You know, the idea that every narrator has their own bias, and so you can't fully trust anything that anybody is telling you, and you're getting all of these different perspectives. Basically, by the end of it, you're kind of, you spend the whole time kind of thinking that she's not trustworthy, but then there are also some things that you think she's still very clearly a victim of. By the end of it, it almost feels like it has you questioning the things that she's a victim of. My thinking is that she is very much a victim, but that doesn't necessarily mean that a victim is not problematic in their own right. And if that is what the author was trying to do, then I get that. I think maybe they could have hit it home a little bit harder than that. But I think that largely that's where you're at, is that, like, you can be a victim and still be a bad person. So that was how I left it. And yeah, it's interesting because I really enjoyed the first 90% of the book, and the ending was okay. Like, it wasn't a bad ending. It felt a little thrown on at the end, like maybe the author was trying to figure out how to end it, and this was kind of the best approach she could come up with. But yeah, I mean, it was a great read. It was a fun read. I don't regret reading it, and I would recommend it. I would say go in knowing that you're gonna probably have some questions at the end that you might need to answer for yourself, but largely I enjoyed the book. So yeah, that was a good read. No regrets there. And next up on my reading list, what I just started night before last, I just started reading One Perfect Couple by Ruth Ware. And so this is an interesting premise. It's another like reality TV show kind of book, which it's funny, I feel like I've read a bunch of those books this year, and I think it's just becoming more of a common theme because there are so many reality shows and it's such an interesting story to play into. But the story is about this woman who, she's a virologist in London, and she is dating an actor, like a struggling actor, and you know, they're kind of not in the best of places in their relationship. Her actor boyfriend gets this call to be on a reality show called One Perfect Couple, and the whole thing is you have to both go. Like, you have to bring your significant other. That's the only way he can get cast. And so he kind of like begs her to be a part of this because he thinks it's going to be his big break. And the goal of the reality show is to kind of test the relationship and, let's be honest, probably break it up for really good TV, and pair you with your best match regardless of if that is who you came with or not. And so it's on an island. I think it's like a deserted island out somewhere in Indonesia. And so eventually she says yes. They talk with the producer, who is super sketchy, and they like mention that there's a prize, but they never say what the prize is, and say that it's really just about exposure and, you know, all of that. So like you can tell the whole thing is pretty sketchy. Like there's not a lot of information, and, you know, honestly, it's definitely not something I would have ever signed up for. Just reading it, there were red flags everywhere, but, you know, okay, whatever. Um, so they go on this trip, and the first thing that I thought was really funny is like all the couples meet, and then the one of the producers or something comes over and asks them for their cell phones and gadgets and laptops and everything, and everybody is like stunned. They can't believe that they're not allowed to have their devices, and I'm like, what year is it? This is like, hello, of course you can't have your devices. Have you never seen a reality show ever? Of course they're not connected to what's going on. Anyway, the show starts, they're one challenge in, and then you get these little snippets of like foreshadowing that there's some sort of disaster. And so you get these snippets of what's happened in the future as you're kind of reading up to that point. And I'm at the point now to where you're slowly starting to see the disaster that's happened, and you are trying to figure out what's going on. And that's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna give anything else away. I'm not gonna give away like the main chunk of what's happening. But that's where I'm at right now, and I'm enjoying it. It's fine. I wouldn't say this is my favorite book that I've read. It's definitely not a cliffhanger. Like, I'm happy to read a chapter and then go to sleep. But it's fine. So far, you know, not a bad read, and we'll see if it turns out being worth it in the end. But that does it for my book chat. That is what I'm reading. That's what I'm working on. So happy to be starting to feel better from this cold. I'm happy to be getting better before the holidays really start, and just in time for some vacation. I'm planning on doing lots of cozy knitting, and we're gonna do some cooking and some baking, see some friends and loved ones, and just really enjoy this holiday season. So I hope that you are having a cozy, wonderful holiday season too. I hope gift knitting isn't stressing you out too much. And if you are still working on your gift knits, good luck, and I'm sending you lots of positive knitting energy. But just, I hope you're having a really wonderful holiday. So if you stuck around until now, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Definitely let me know your thoughts on communication on test knits and what's your preferred method. I would really love to have some outside opinions on your thoughts on Discord versus Instagram versus Slack. And if you would like to get in touch with me, I am meeshyfrazz on Instagram and Ravelry. You can email me at meeshyfrazz@gmail.com, and you can find me at my blog, which is meeshyfrazzknits.com. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful holiday, and I will chat with you next time. Bye.